Good morning. This is Edna J. White, and you are on the Ride In with Edna J. White. Today, I am on my way to work, and I am the chairperson of the NAACP Economic Development Committee, and I go around and kind of like foresee what people need for the betterment of life, which includes housing, which includes owning a home, their credit, which helps them to be sustainable in the community and be a viable person in addition to the community. I never knew that I had to qualify for that, but I obviously have been doing it almost all of my life as a real estate broker, owning my two offices both in Wyandanch and in Coram, those of which were, not to my knowledge, but to God's knowledge, that were challenged areas. And along the way, I picked up a lot of information, a lot of data I composed, and reports that I created on discrimination in housing, on discrimination in general, in areas, zip codes, and things like that. But I always say, and I go back to this, we should all start at an even playing field so that when discrimination does happen, we will know it. Now, I was thinking this morning, because I have so many challenges at my job, and it has to do with the same thing: economic development, economic empowerment. It has a whole lot to do with that, because I'm assisting people locating housing who have had challenges in their lives, preferably credit, foreclosure, bankruptcy, evictions, no credit, no job. And those are the things that I work with. I work with in general those are challenges or barriers is what they call them, because barriers do prevent you from going towards something, and you have to dismantle that barrier in order to succeed. Well, the number one barrier to me at this present time in 2019 May is the number one barrier to homelessness is that we're not on the same playing field. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, number one, when I interview or pre-screen a client over the phone, I'm asking very important questions, which is number one, have you ever had an eviction? No matter what the excuse is, it's yes or no. So I don't really listen to the excuse. It's if they have an excuse, it's a yes. Okay. So that's my first checkoff. Second I ask, how is your credit? They said to me, well, it's not good. Well, that means to me that you've seen it and you know the number. So tell me the FICO score. What is your FICO score? If it's below 600, I already know that there's things that have to be corrected and dealt with. Okay, so that's number two. The third thing is to ask, are you working? And if they are working, you have to find out the income. That's the third thing. But the number one barrier to all of this, of homelessness, is that there's not a component set up or a pre-screen module set up within the interviews of the shelters, the interviews of Department of Social Services. There is no information to pre-screen these clients. And those very important questions that I just named are very good pre-screen questions, because now you know how long it's going to take your client to complete this. So if it was done the very day of your pre-screen when they were placed in the shelter, you would know that, okay, it's going to take me 30 to 60 days to work with this client to get this, and this done. Okay? Or if they have an eviction, you know you have to wait at least 2 years. So unless you find a landlord that does not care about them having eviction, or you have a client that's willing to pay for the eviction to be removed, which is just like a debt, pay it off, then you have something to work with. But to expect a realtor, to expect a landlord, to expect anyone to disregard those things is asking somebody to just, take your business for granted. And the reason why I go back to say, if we all are on that same playing field, whether we have Section 8, low-income housing, DSS, any of that information, if we have any of that, if we get our credit together and maintain that and stop living out of our means, if we have a savings or a checking account, if we get our life insurance, if we do all of those things that are important and pay our debts on time, then we'd be on an even playing field. So no one can say, I'm being discriminated on because I'm either black or brown. No one can say that. But if we all start at that same playing field, get our credit corrected and in the right path, we will not have to worry about saying they're discriminating against me unless they say to your face, we don't want any black or brown people. They can say that, and that's outright discrimination. What I'm trying to get at this generation and in this market, in this economic climate, is that let's go back to the basics of having good credit. Let's go back to having a bank account. Let's go back to having life insurance. Let's go back to saving for your children. Let's not leave it up to, the government to tell us what we should and should not do and then jump through the hoops and be angry about the hoops later. Let's do that. Let's not take Section 8 as a lifelong handicap. Let's not pass that legacy on to our children. Let's just use Section 8 the way it was meant to be, as a stepping stone to move to the next level. Because when we start depending on something, we stop our own growth. So let's get to that. When we get to that, we can solve every other problem. I think that me seeing a lot of the real discrimination, I know a lot of what goes on and what is being said, and that kind of like captures the change. Like I know what they mean when they say it, and I know what they mean when they don't say anything. And basically, there's a way to counteract every negative vibe. You just have to know that you need to start on an even playing field, have everything the same, equal, like having your license. Just like it's legal to drive, you need your license, you need a permit first, and you need your license. That's where you have to start. Everything needs to start at an even playing field so that there's no one saying, oh, they're discriminating against me, or they're picking on me because I'm black and brown. If we start on an even playing field for everything, no matter what background we came from, and I've come from, a hard personal background, but I was willing to start at an even playing field. And I taught my children that. Now, whether they went the other way and did whatever they wanted to do, that's their business, and it wasn't something I did not teach them. But I will tell you that it's so very important to start on an even playing field. If you want more out of life, fix your credit. If you want more out of life, start saving. If you want more out of life, get a bank account. If you want more out of life, begin to travel. If you want more out of life, put more in investment into those things, the basics. See, we got away from all the basics. We got, we can depend on social services for this, or Section 8 for this, or this government entity over here. And then, I can't work because, I have anxiety. I can't work for the smallest things. We give in. And you know what was so eye-opening? I thought that was true, that once you go on disability, you can't work. Well, even disability knows or understands that disabled people have the option, have the ability to work somewhat. And they give you a little bit of window to work. And I thought that was amazing to see and to know. But those things are open and there for us as an opportunity. I would that I knew a lot of things prior, before doing a lot of things. But as I grow and learn, I share and teach. So I'm telling you today on Driving In with Miss Edna is that let's start everything on an even playing field. Let's start dissecting our stuff first, fixing our things, and then we can go and fix someone else's. Let's do it the correct way. A good teacher has already learned from himself or herself. That's what a good teacher is. They've already learned the lessons for him or herself. So bye-bye for now. Thanks for listening in.